Welcome to my channel Karma Romance Stories. Please like, subscribe for more videos.
Have you ever watched someone you love treat you like you no longer matter? Imagine spending your whole life building a home for your family only to be thrown out with nothing but a torn bag in your hands. My son-in-law smiled while my daughter looked away. She tossed the bag at my feet and shouted, "Take your trash." They believed my life was over. They had no idea that inside that old bag was something that would change every one of their lives forever. Stay until the end because the truth behind the $700,000 shocked everyone. My name is Richard. I am 68 years old, and for more than 40 years I worked 6 days every week. I never chased luxury. Every dollar I earned went into giving my family a better future. My wife and I bought a small house when we were young. We repaired every wall with our own hands. Every room carried a memory. Every window reminded me of the children growing up. When my wife passed away, after a long illness, the house became my last connection to her. Every morning I sat on the porch drinking coffee where we used to laugh together. I believed no matter what happened, my daughter would always protect those memories. Her name was Emily. She was my only child. I gave her everything I could. I worked overtime so she could attend college. I missed birthdays because I was earning money for her future. Every sacrifice felt worth it because seeing her smile made me forget my own pain. Everything changed after she married Daniel. At first, Daniel appeared kind and respectful. He called me dad and always offered to help with small jobs around the house. Slowly his real personality appeared. He constantly talked about money. He believed every property should be sold if it could produce profit. Memories meant nothing to him. He often looked around my house and said, "This place is worth a fortune. You should sell it before prices fall." I always answered with the same words, "This house is not an investment. It is my home." He would laugh and shake his head. Months passed and Emily slowly stopped visiting alone. Every conversation sounded rehearsed. Every opinion matched Danielle's opinion. It felt like I was losing my daughter one sentence at a time. One evening they arrived carrying papers. Daniel smiled and placed them on my kitchen table. He said, "We found a beer. All you have to do is sign." I looked at him in silence. Emily avoided eye contact. I pushed the papers back. I said, "This house is not for sale." Daniel's smile disappeared. He stood up and said, "You are selfish. Do you know how much money you are wasting?" I calmly replied, "This house belongs to me." He left angry. A week later, everything became worse. I received a legal notice informing me that Emily claimed I had promised to transfer ownership years ago. I could not believe what I was reading. The legal battle lasted months. Lawyers filled the courtroom with complicated documents. Daniel acted confident. Emily barely looked at me. Eventually, the pressure became too much. My savings disappeared into legal fees. I accepted a settlement and sold the house. The day I moved out, I carried only one suitcase and an old torn travel bag that had belonged to my late wife. As I stood outside the empty house, Daniel smiled proudly. Emily picked up the old bag from the ground. She laughed. She threw it toward me. "Take your trash." The zipper nearly broke as it landed beside my feet. Neighbors watched from their windows. Nobody spoke. I quietly picked up the bag. I thanked them for everything. Daniel laughed even harder. I walked away without looking back. That night I rented the cheapest motel room I could find. For the first time in decades I had no home. I placed the old bag on the bed. The zipper was damaged from the fall. As I carefully opened it, I noticed something unusual hidden beneath the torn lining. There was a small envelope. I had never seen it before. My wife had secretly stitched it inside the bag years earlier. Inside was a handwritten letter. It began with my name. "If you are reading this, it means life has become difficult again." Tears filled my eyes. She explained that during the years when money was tight, she quietly invested part of an inheritance from her parents. She never told anyone because she wanted it to become my emergency protection if everything else was lost. Attached to the letter was information for a savings account. The balance was $700,000. I sat frozen. For several minutes I could not breathe. My wife had saved me one final time. The next morning I visited the bank. The account was real. The balance was exactly as written. The manager confirmed everything. My hands trembled as I signed the paperwork. For the first time since losing my house, I smiled. But the greatest surprise had not happened yet. Several weeks later, Daniel discovered through mutual friends that I had suddenly purchased a beautiful lakeside home. He became suspicious. Soon he learned about the savings account. His attitude changed overnight. Emily called crying. She said they wanted to apologize. I agreed to meet them. They entered my new home pretending everything could return to normal. Daniel smiled politely. He apologized for misunderstandings. Then he finally asked the real question. "Would you help us financially?" I looked directly into his eyes. I remembered the day he watched me leave with nowhere to go. I remembered my daughter throwing the old bag. I quietly stood up. I handed Daniel the same torn bag. I said, "This belongs to you now." He looked confused. Inside was only the handwritten note I had added. Respect is worth more than money. Those who throw away people should never expect to receive their blessings. Neither of them spoke. Emily cried silently. Daniel lowered his head. They left without another word. Months later, Emily returned alone. She admitted she had allowed greed to replace love. She accepted responsibility for every decision she made. Forgiveness did not happen immediately. Trust takes years to build and only moments to destroy. Slowly, we rebuilt our relationship. Not because of money, because honesty finally returned. The greatest inheritance parents can leave their children is not wealth. It is character. Money can build houses. Only love can build families. That old torn bag looked worthless to everyone except the woman who filled it with hope many years earlier. The people who called it trash believed they had won. In reality, they had already lost the most valuable thing a family can have: respect. Never judge someone by what they carry, because sometimes the greatest treasure is hidden where nobody thinks to look.